It's the second week of January. Are your New Year's resolutions ready to hit the trash can already? It could be because you're looking at your goals all wrong.
Hey, if you don't know us, I'm Larry.
I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where practical frugality meets real life.
For a lot of people, January is all about those resolutions that they made on December 31st. So to help you with those resolutions, we have made Mondays on this channel this month all about frugal flexes. These are small changes that you can make, but they're going to help you to keep more of your money in your pocket, and it's going to help you to make progress on the goals that you made on December the 31st. And not only that, you won't hate those goals by Valentine's Day.
Most people don't fail because they're not trying. A lot of the times it's because they lack having a good system. So that's what we're going to show you today. A really good system that you can use to keep your finances on track.
And make sure you stick with us because we're going to use an actual example from our own goal setting and tell you how that's going, just to give you an example as we go through the video. First thing we want to point out is that you need to plan your financial goals backwards. You need to start with the end in mind.
Yes.
Always know exactly where you're going and what you want this to look at in, say, 3 months or 6 months down the line. What are you aiming at? Because if you don't have something to aim at, then you're certainly not going to get there. So you start by creating this goal that is specific, that is time-based, that tells you exactly what you're looking for at the end of that time period. Once you have that written down, because remember, a goal in your head is not a goal. That is not a goal.
Right.
A goal is written down and it's specific and it's time-bound. You're going to start with that. Then you work backwards and create this system of habits that are going to help you to reach the end goal.
It's a little bit like planning a trip. When you're planning a trip, you have to get a map out and decide not only where you're going, but how you're going to get there and how long it will take so you can allow enough time in your trip to do everything that you want to do. And that's basically what we're talking about with financial planning. You start with that end goal in mind, as Hope mentioned, and then you gauge proper stops along the way in order to get you there.
Now, if you're one of those people that had even one New Year's resolution, we want to hear you shout out in the comments section. Say, that's me. I did a New Year's resolution. So you've got your goal. It's down on paper. But what is this plan that we speak of? How do you plan to reach your goal? You're going to create a series of habits. These are deliberate choices you're going to take in that time period. They're going to help you make forward progress on your goals. As we promised, an example from our own financial goals. This quarter, we are focusing so hard on our winter utility bills. It's made all the more difficult because the utility company just shoved through another raise, not in the rate they're charging us per therm for natural gas or per kilowatt hour for electricity. These are just basic fees. So we know we got to drop what we're using in order to have a hope of making a dent in the bill.
So let's talk about habit number 1 in relationship to utilities. What we're going to do is lower the amount of utilities that we're using. This is the amount of electricity that we're actually using in order to keep the final rate the same. So here's what we're doing. We're looking at kitchen appliances. What do each of our kitchen appliances use in terms of wattage and the time that it takes for them to cook the items that we have inside of them? Now, our wall oven is a 220 volt oven, and it really does use a lot of power. We do use it sometimes. If we have a lot to cook, it does make sense to use it. But there are other appliances that do basically the same thing that use a lot less power. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to those lesser usage items and we're going to put those into use.
And how much power do the average kitchen appliances use, you may ask? I did research on it for you. I created a nice, colorful chart for you to show you this is a demonstration. Now, it's going to be different for different appliances. For instance, crock pot usage, which is way at the bottom. But if you have a big crock pot, it's going to use a little more energy, especially if you use it on high. You get a smaller crock pot, it's going to use less energy. You have to know what your specific kitchen appliances use. The chart will give you kind of a good stepping off place, but you have to have a way of knowing what yours use. If it plugs into a wall, you, my friend, need to invest in something that'll cost you less than $40. It's a kilowatt meter. We use ours all the time. Check with your local library before you buy, though, because that's how we first got a kilowatt meter, was by borrowing it from a local library. We used it so much. We fell in love with the kilowatt meter
We did.
that we purchased our own, and we use it all the time to monitor how much energy is being used by appliances. That allows us to make smart choices with what we're using and what we're not using. So what we're showing you is you start with the end goal in mind, and then you build these habits. You forecast. What is it that's causing that specific item in your budget to go up or to just be higher than you would like it to be? What are those external forces, like the extra fees that our utility company just got shoved through? So those are the external things. Now we're talking internal things, right? These are the things that you can control. We know what we can't control. Now we're controlling what we can control, and we're starting with using less electricity to begin with.
And this helps you to not feel so powerless and so much of a victim because energy rates are going up. This gives you a way to control what you're doing in order to keep those rates down. What we found with the kilowatt meter is that the Instant Pot was the one that used the least amount of energy for what it did. It worked quickly and it worked very efficiently. So this is what we're using now, much more than the oven or any other item like the toaster oven or anything else that we have that plugs into 120 volts.
And you know what? If you've got some ways to cook that don't cost you any energy off the grid, extra bonus.
Yes,
but
indeed.
You know what I love most about Larry's just last comment? He said, "You're not powerless." And I thought it was an unintentional pun. I was like, did he mean to do that? Or was that just completely and utterly unintentional?
It was unintentional.
There are 3 other habits that we're changing. Here's where we're telling you that. 4 habits altogether. That's what we're looking at changing specifically this month. Don't change so many habits at once that you can't figure out how those habits impacted the bottom line. Because if you change 10 things and all of a sudden your usage goes down, it's a lot harder to determine, oh my gosh, which one of these 10 habits really made a difference. So you can pick 4 habits. You can do it for 2 weeks, let's say, for a fortnight. And then you can check and say, all right, do we need to adjust this? We really like a 30-day plan, because that 30 days gives you long enough to make sure that you're using the habit consistently. And it gives you long enough to figure out how it's impacting your progress toward the goal.
Right. Is it working for you?
Right. So before we're going to tell you just very briefly what those other 3 habits are. But if you're digging this whole idea of having something that is very clear, very concrete, sequential, that's going to get you from the goal to get you to the end goal to make sure that you succeed with a lot less hassle and a lot less frustration, we created a PI method workbook. Now, PI stands for plan, implement, evaluate. That's kind of a tease because you know what's coming up next in the video. But if you'd like the workbook that walks you through it step by step, gives you all kinds of charts and gives you visuals and gives you the ability to evaluate how it went for that 30 days and whether you want to hold those habits over for the next 30 days, that workbook's available. I'll make sure that there's a link, guys, in the video description. What else did we do, Larry? Real quickly, 3 things.
Habit number 2 is we adjusted our thermostat.
Yes,
what we did was we already had it turned down pretty good. We decided to go down just a couple degrees more and for longer periods of time. So not only did we bring it down, we brought it down for longer periods when we're lowering it at night. We don't bring our heat back up quite as soon in the morning, and we're bringing it down a little earlier in the evening, and we're going a little bit lower. So this is helping take off just a little bit more of our money off of that bill.
We also look at our projections for the bill. Our utility company tells us here's what your projected bill is going to be. Then we also look, the fourth thing we do is we look at our usage. Our utility company gives us a nice chart. We can look down to every 15-minute increments to figure out, let's say we turned on the wall oven. How did that affect our usage? We can see that spike immediately and go, holy cow, that tripled our usage during the amount of time that wall oven was on. Figuring out, but the reason we even told you all 4 of these habits, we want you to notice something. Habits will range from something that's pretty broad to some things that are narrow and are micro adjustments. Right. What you want to try to figure out are which of these habits are moving the needle the farthest. You have to track what you're doing, and then you have to figure out how to evaluate it, which is our next step. When you are evaluating it, you're figuring out what worked, and you're going to double down on those for the next 30 days.
As Hope mentioned, now is the time to evaluate what we've done. Let's take a look at all the numbers and see how they worked according to our plan. The first thing that we noticed is that in the first month, we missed the mark. It wasn't by a lot, but we did miss it. We didn't meet what we wanted to do. So that means we have to work a little bit harder in order to make it.
Now, this is our 3rd month into our winter utility goals. And so we've got some data now that we're working with. Yes. Collect all the numbers you can. Data is your friend.
It is.
From everything that we collected and we saw our final bill, what we were able to determine is in month 1, our bill went slightly up. It was $4 more than it was 12 months prior to that. That gave us a baseline. What do we need to do to move the needle? Right. The following month number 2,
excellent.
We rocked it. We lowered our electric usage even more, our natural gas usage even more, and our final bill was 12.5% less than it was 12 months prior. But there's a caveat. Always look at what is maybe changing that bill that you didn't count on. There was some kind of a lawsuit that eventually was won, and they had to credit us with a certain amount on our utility bill.
Yes.
And so it did help. It was 12, and that's why it was 12.5% lower. So to get the numbers straightened out, I took that out of the equation and said, would our bill still have been lower despite that credit? And yes, it would have been. It would have been 9.5% lower. So that really, to us, is what we're looking at. We are midway through-ish on the 3rd month of the challenge. And right now, the numbers are trending. So once again, we're lower on natural gas, lower on electric, but the bill is trending slightly higher. January 1st, my understanding is that there were some new fees that went into effect. I won't see those till I get the bill. So it's a little bit hard to determine how those additional fees are affecting it and how I'm going to have to adjust. This is all about adjustments.
That's right.
This is not a crock pot, guys. Larry likes his car, his driving analogies. This is my crock pot analogy, okay? Bear with me. You don't set it and forget it. You don't go, this is a 6-month goal for us. It's not even a 90-day goal. It's a 180-day goal. You don't set it at the goal and then just don't look at it or don't proactively do things every single 30 days. Yeah. That's the reason people get burnt out, because they start looking at it going, well, nothing's happening. Well, are you tracking what you're doing? Are you evaluating what you're doing? How do you figure out what you're doing or not doing that is affecting the goal and the bill and the amount of money you want to save?
That's right.
And so every 30 days as we look at this, we're figuring what else do we need to adjust?
Mm-hmm. So when you evaluate, you want to consider 3 things. What worked, what didn't, and what is trending in the right direction. This helps you to set some goals for the next goal period.
And remember, if you want all of our forms in the Pi Method workbook, they're available for you. The link is in the video description. This whole changing of the guard that happens somehow at 12:01 on January 1st of any given year. All of a sudden people go, whoa, I have switched into 2026 mode, and all of a sudden I'm setting these goals. But why? Why does everything seem to change the minute we get to January 1st? We start reevaluating pretty much everything in our life, right? Yeah. Including our finances. But forecasting what you need to change and not just making random changes, that is so important. We do research at the end of every single calendar year, look at our budget and say, what do we think is going to go up in the following 365 days?
Yes.
Now, if you want to know the 6 areas of our budget, and we think maybe your budget too, that are probably going to go up in 2026. We did a whole video on it, and we told you not only what we think is going to go up, we gave you a game plan for exactly what you can do to sort of modify all of those prices that are going up. That video is right over there.